Hey everyone, welcome back to another tier list. Today we're going to be doing the films of Zack Snyder. This guy is one of my favorite directors. I really like most of his films. I think he's a super stylistic director. His movies always look good, even though sometimes they're a bit overly CGI'd and over the top. Um, he definitely has his own visual style that's recognizable straight away. He's delved a lot into superhero films, zombie films, all sorts of stuff. So it's always interesting when he has a new movie out. And I know he's got another one called Rebel Moon coming out at the end of the year. So for now, we're just going to rank all the films he's released up until now. Um, so yeah, this is including, it looks like, an extended cut of Batman vs Superman, as well as his cut of Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. Um, so yeah, we'll jump right in with 300 at the beginning. So 300 is a great film. I really like this movie a lot. It's an S tier film. It has his visual style all over it. I think it's only the second movie he made, but it really kind of shows off everything that he's known for now. Like you've got the graphic violence with lots of blood, the overly polished kind of look, the slow motion action sequences, and the music and all that. Um, but it does everything that he does really well, um, without having all the fat around it. It's not a very long film, but it just kind of is a movie with these like extended battle sequences throughout that are just super entertaining. Um, they're also characters that you watch and latch onto, and they're not just mindless or faceless kind of people that are battling. So it's a very fun and entertaining movie. Um, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a movie that I would put into S tier, but to be honest, I own it on 4K. I really enjoy watching it, and I can't really pick anything wrong with it. I've always just enjoyed the hell out of it a lot more than its sequel as well. It's just a very fun and original kind of movie, especially the way that it was made. So yeah, I really love 300. Next up, we have Army of the Dead, which is a more recent film. Um, he did it in 2021, I think, when he did the Snyder Cut. A lot of people don't seem to like it. It's got pretty average reviews, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. Um, I'm going to put it in the A tier. It's not quite an S tier film, but it was a lot of fun. I actually liked it a lot more than his first zombie film, Dawn of the Dead, which I know a lot of people love, but I had a lot more fun with Army of the Dead. I think it's a bit too long, and there's one character, the daughter character, just really annoyed me. I thought the film would have been better either without her or with a complete kind of rewrite of her character because she was just super annoying. Um, but other than that, I really enjoyed the film for the most part. It was very entertaining. Great action, great characters, except for the daughter. And just, yeah, the bloody violence and all that was just really over the top and really cool to watch. So yeah, it was a fun, entertaining Netflix film, and it was very, yeah, as I said, a bit too long though. But yeah, for a Zack Snyder film, it's probably in the A tier. If it was another director, it might be a bit lower though. Next, we have Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. This movie is kind of hit and miss with me. I'm going to put it in the B tier, and I'll put the extended cut in the B tier as well, but just above the theatrical cut because it does add a bit more to the film to make it more enjoyable. The film is not all it could have been. Having a movie where Superman and Batman are finally together facing off live action seems really cool, and it is really cool in a lot of it, but there's a lot that just didn't work for me as well. I think Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was miscast. I think there's a lot of over reliance on CGI battles, especially with Doomsday in the latter half of the film. Um, However, there is a few things about the movie that I really love. I love Ben Affleck's performance as Batman. I think Henry Cavill's great once again as Superman. He is my favorite Superman, and I loved seeing them together on screen for the moments they had. Wonder Woman was really cool in the parts that she had of the film. But my favorite part of the movie is actually the death of Superman when he dies. I found it to be a really emotional scene. Um, Even more so than anything in Man of Steel, I think. And the music that went with that scene was great, and Amy Adams as Lois Lane in that scene was fantastic. I don't hear anyone talking about that part of the movie much, but that's always been the part that stuck with me the most. So yeah, for that, it's a solid movie. It's a B. Um, Next, we have Dawn of the Dead, the first film from Zack Snyder. A lot of people love this movie, so this is going to be a controversial pick for me, putting this in C. I went back and rewatched it maybe a year or two ago now, just to see if I thought it was any better than I initially did. But I still kind of just thought it was average. Like it's just kind of the average zombie film, which is why I liked Army of the Dead better because it did a lot more than these typical cliched kind of zombie films. And it's not bad for a first film for the director, but overall I was just disappointed with the movie. As I said, it wasn't bad, so it's not going in D tier, but it wasn't really great either. So it's easily a C tier film for me. So next up we have Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Gaul. So this is a kind of strange departure for Zack Snyder because it's a family film and an animated movie about talking owls. Um, I've seen it once a long time ago. I actually own the Blu-ray for some reason. I guess I enjoyed it enough at the time to buy it, but I've never really had the desire to go back and watch it. I know that the visuals are great in the film. It has some cool scenes and some cool music and characters and stuff. And I may have to watch it again one day, but for now I'm just going to pop it in the C tier, but probably even above Dawn of the Dead. So I know people are going to be annoyed about that, but I do think it's a really good looking film and quite unique. So yeah, I liked it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Next up, we have Man of Steel. This is a fantastic film, straight up to the top of the S tier for me. I've always been a huge fan of Superman. He's actually my favorite superhero. I grew up with the Christopher Reeves films and absolutely loved them. So I wasn't a huge fan of the 2006 Superman Returns movie. So when we got this film, I was super excited to see it. I still remember now, like 10 years ago when it came out, going to the cinema with my brother and my friend to watch it and just being like absolutely blown away. Like I loved this film so much when it came out, especially the scene when Superman flies for the first time and the music behind it. It's just like so iconic, and it has one of the best superhero villains of recent memory for me as well, with General Zod by Michael Shannon. A great musical score, just a fantastic movie overall. I know it does have a little bit too much reliance on the over CGI stuff in the final battles and stuff, but to be honest, I love the film. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna put it in the A tier because it's not, Citizen Kane or something. But yeah, for what it is, I really love it. It's my favorite Superman film as a standalone Superman film for me, where he's not part of a wider team. And yeah, even now, 10 years later, I still love this film, and I think it's one of my favorite superhero films of all time. I know that Henry Cavill's just been recast, unfortunately, by some younger dude that they're gonna, have as the new Superman. I think it's a shame because he's really only played Superman three times properly, and it would be good to get a few more movies with him because he's not like ancient or anything. But yeah, unfortunately, the DCEU is going another way. So, but yeah, for what it is, it's easily an S tier for me. Next up, we have Sucker Punch. This movie is probably at the bottom of like everyone's list. It seems to be anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate the film. It's another one that I haven't seen for a long time. I'm gonna do something that's gonna annoy everyone again, but I'm gonna put it above Dawn of the Dead because Dawn of the Dead is actually my least favorite Zack Snyder film. I think that Sucker Punch, it's very original, it's creative, it has some cool visual elements to it, some great musical interludes as well, and score throughout. But another one I haven't gotten around to seeing again for a long time. But I do remember thinking it was okay and enjoying it more than Dawn of the Dead, so I'm going to put it there for now. It's probably one I need to check out again. But yeah, I've no desire to jump right back into that film. Next up, we have Watchmen. This is a great movie. So this is the first kind of superhero film Zack Snyder did before jumping into the wider DC EU and all that. And this is a much darker, grittier kind of superhero film, and I really love this movie. It's easily an S tier film. I'll put it between those two. Um, it's a long, dark, gritty, violent kind of superhero film, but it has his great visual flair all the way through it. It's a fantastic movie. I always love it every time I watch it. I think it might be a little bit too long or a little bit boring in some spots, but as a whole movie, I can't really fault it for being super imaginative and creative, and it just looks like a comic book. That's the thing that Snyder does really well with his superhero films, is just makes them look like they're comic panels pretty much, and Watchmen really does that really well. And I love, most of the characters. Patrick Wilson's pretty cool in the film. Jackie Earl Haley. Yeah, like I haven't watched it again for a few years now, but I definitely need to rewatch that one. So last but not least, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. So as you can see, we don't have the 2017 Justice League film here because that is not really his film. Joss Whedon kind of destroyed that movie, and if it was on this list, it would be in the D tier. But Zack Snyder's cut of the film is actually fantastic, and I'm going to chuck that right up the top of the S tier because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was because I disliked the original cut so much that I thought, oh, well, they can't really, just add a bit more to it and make it great. But what they really did was take all of Joss Whedon's stuff out and add all of Zack Snyder's stuff back in, as well as new scenes to make it 4 hours long. So this is a super long movie, and I watched it over 2 nights. But I just like loved it so much, and I thought, wow, this is a completely different film. This is how it should have been released originally, and this is like, yeah, Zack Snyder's crowning achievement as far as I'm concerned, so far anyway. So yeah, it's just a big, epic 4 hour blockbuster superhero film with all of the DC characters, and um, yeah, it's just like for what it is, it's as good as they could have made it, I think. And I know some people trash it and talk rubbish about it, but like if you're a fan of Batman, Superman, or the Justice League in general, like you can't really complain about what they were able to do with this film, especially after the butchered original cut of the movie. So yeah, super happy with how that came out, and yeah, so as you can see, I really like these four films up here. I think these are definitely his best movies. As I said, I really enjoy Army of the Dead and Batman vs Superman as well. However, these three films down here, I just think are kind of average. I don't think any of his films are D tier, like trash or anything like that. But yeah, these ones are just kind of average. But everything else I really enjoy that he's made so far. So yeah, really looking forward to Rebel Moon coming out later this year. I heard it was originally going to be like a Star Wars film, but now it's just going to be his own kind of, I don't know if it's like a version of a Star Wars film or just a sci-fi. So yeah, really keen to check that one out. So thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe and let me know how you would rank these films down below. Bye.